So we're going to talk today about fear calibration. Fear is an eternal part of the human existence. And in modern society, in the modern society in which you're able to sit here and watch me on YouTube or on adultacademy.org, we need to recognize that the threats that we are exposed to on a day-to-day basis are different than the threats our ancestors were exposed to time immemorial. That's not to say that we don't all still experience threats to life and limb. We do. Some of us, depending upon our socioeconomic status, the community that we live in, the nation we live in, may experience greater threats to life or limb than others. But the reality is, while fear is a daily aspect of our lives, more often than not, I think, if you've got the time to sit here and watch a YouTube video about fear calibration, you're not likely to be exposed to day in, day out threats to your life or limbs. And that means that you're not under an acute stressor. So why is it that we deal with so much fear? Why is it that we are constantly confronting fears about how to talk to our partner about the budget, or how to talk to our kids about being good people in the world, or the fact that they're going to confront challenges that my generation didn't, my parents' generation didn't, their grandparents' generations didn't? Think about the number of parents that are afraid to talk to their children about sex. That's ludicrous. It is an essential aspect of human life, and yet we're terrified to talk to our children about it. Now, I would argue that fear is more common the more comfortable we are. Because when we're not experiencing direct threats to life or limb, our body's measuring a whole bunch of different things. And fear, our survival impulses, our fear impulses are generally calibrated to 5 essential elements, the 5 F's. Our need to fight, our need to flee, our need to freeze, our need to feed, and our need to mate. Those 5 aspects of survival are constantly running a while loop in the back of our brains, trying to figure out what we're supposed to do. So one of the things we need to do is try to calibrate that fear setting. Am I experiencing a threat to life or limb? If I'm not experiencing a threat to life or limb, I need to take a deep breath and slow down. That deep breath resets the fear sensors. It resets the brain. It allows me to take control over my physiological functioning and prepare myself to deal with threats or the perception of threats that aren't acute. Feeling like I may have a threat to my status is generally not an acute threat. It's not an immediate life or limb threatening situation. And yet we often respond like it is. Because evolutionarily, a threat to our status meant the risk of being pushed out of the tribe. Tribes are different now. Our access to resources on a consistent basis is different. And that varies widely from culture to culture and from individual situation to individual situation. There's a lot of variation in communities, and we're going to talk about that. But the reality is that acute threats, those acute threats, the threats to my ability to breathe, the absence of physical violence in my immediate situation, my ability to maintain enough thermal balance to not freeze to death or die from heat exhaustion. Those are acute threats. Those are things that have to be changed right now. All the rest of those fears, we can calibrate. There is exactly one good thing that came out of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. And it's Yoda's notion. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. The suffering and the toxicity that we are experiencing in the world today, and that each of us experiences throughout our lives, come from anger. And that anger comes from our fears. It comes from fears about our status, fears about how we are perceived in our community. Calibrating those fears is the first step in reducing our suffering. Thanks for stopping. Thank you for checking out adultacademy.org. Please like this video, share this video, comment on this video. If you want to see more stuff on fear calibration, or as Tim Ferriss calls it, fear setting, let me know. We are going to continue to pump stuff out on this topic. It is central to what we're talking about here. Please check out the website, adultacademy.org. Follow our Amazon link, the link that says buy cat food. Buy your cat food by following our Amazon link. It is an easy, free way for you to support adultacademy.org and what we're doing. And if you want to throw us a few bucks, you can buy a t-shirt. Thanks. We'll see you soon. Cheers.